Hello everyone, welcome to the review of Unit 7, Prison Currency. So I'm going to give you a quick recap of what we talked about earlier, specifically about instant noodles and how the lingo in prison is called soups. And kind of a recent phenomenon that's been growing in the prison systems because inmates are using them as a currency, to use for gambling or at stakes when they're playing cards, to pay for protection for bigger guys who protect smaller inmates, or even to buy extra things at the commissary. Commissary.
Commissary.
Now, many people, think like, oh, why are they using soups? Or, why are they using instant noodles specifically? Well, previously it was cigarettes they called bats, but a lot of prisons have been undergoing a lot of change to get rid of smoking. They're banning smoking in many of the areas, so it's getting harder and harder to get cigarettes. But at the commissary, you can buy the noodles. And the reason this is also a little bit worse is the fact that these prison systems are run by these corrections companies, are privatized, and corrections. They've been trying to cut down expenses, raise the profit from the government spending, and they're reducing a lot of the food. And sometimes, inmates don't have enough food. So they see this ramen as a, potential source of eat and currency, good food, or you could use to pay for something because someone else wants to eat it maybe.
Right.
And there's been this trend that's been growing about these jailhouse ramen, or these recipes of using ramen in many different ways. Because in the US, per capita of the citizens, we in America have the largest incarceration rates compared to South Korea and Canada. I think about 6 times more.
Oh, wow.
So we have a lot of people we put in prison. Per capita.
Per capita.
And obviously when they get out, they know what they've done in there, they've learned things, and so some people are sharing these jailhouse ramen recipes.
Right.
So it's kind of an interesting thing that's trending and growing. Now, it stems from something bad, but it's kind of turned into a new trend online. Now, in U.S. prisons, prisoners often do the work in the kitchen or in the commissary. Do you think that's safe, or do you think workers should be there?
No, I mean, I've watched a lot of either documentaries and series related to prison life, and they have nothing else to do. So I think for some of them, this little break of like the normal routine of prison might be welcome. Of course, I do believe they need to be very, very strictly supervised, but letting them do a little something just to keep them busy might be better than being bored and then they start fighting with each other and everything. I think it's a good idea.
Right, and I think with like certain classes of inmates or what you're in prison for, they allow you like the woodworking shop around tools, or kitchen around knives, obviously.
You've got some chores to do and stuff.
Yeah, they don't want the violent offenders to be around knives. That'd be terrible.
That would be bad.
But yeah, they kind of gives them some skills that could be used outside of the prison system, but it really doesn't prepare them enough.
Right.
But like what you said, yeah, it gives them time to do something, keeps them busy. So I think it's not that uncommon. And like I mentioned earlier, with these kind of, corrections companies running a lot of these private prisons that the U.S. sends prisoners to, they don't want to pay for a chef, for people to work there.
They want to make it as cheap as possible.
Right.
Like, it's quite shocking sometimes.
Yeah, it's some terrible conditions in the U.S. So, all right, well, that's it for our review, and hope to see you on the next one.